Greetings, Ranger fans. Jake here, and welcome back to another edition of Database Rangers Power Reviews, where we take a look back on our classic episodes of Database Rangers Power Reviews as we count down the 100 weeks to the 100th and final episode of the series. Welcome, Jenny. Welcome to everyone who's filtering in right now. I hope that you've all had a great week. As you may have noticed, my eyes are back to normal, it seems. I have been able to locate a little hand-me-down computer monitor from a friend of mine, Justin, aka Mitch Morpotzner. Happened to have a spare monitor on hand, so I'm not going to be killing my eyes trying to edit on a TV anymore. It's a little smaller than the one that I had before, but much better than working with the television. Welcome, Chris. Good to see you. So, things are starting to finally get back to normal again. Welcome, Lex. I'm sorry that you can't stay, but thank you for saying hi. We appreciate it. So I did put out a poll about when you guys would like for me to be releasing the Dino Fury Deeper Looks again, because I had originally been doing it 24 hours after the premiere. Then once everything got dropped on Netflix, I decided I would be premiering them right immediately after each Nickelodeon premiere. But now that I've fallen 2 weeks behind, I wasn't sure if I still wanted to do that since it was going to be offset, if I wanted to try to play catch up, or if I wanted to pick a different night of the week, something like that. But it does look like everybody wanted me to stick with the 8:30 a.m. on Saturdays. So I'm going to stick with that. So tomorrow morning, it's going to take me a bit to get it done, because I spent most of my week catching up on everything else I needed to do in life. But tomorrow morning, we will have the next deeper look at Power Rangers Dino Fury. So that'll be for episode 16, Ancient History. Not to be confused with the RPM episode, Ancient History. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Scott. Happy birthday in advance to Chris. RJ is doing well. They've been keeping themselves busy at daycare. Coming up on 11 months old almost, so it's pretty crazy. We're creeping up on that first birthday. It's hard to believe. So very excited for that. Right now they're settling down to sleep, hopefully. And Scott thinks this is a Dr. K costume, but not quite. Because, if you might remember, tonight, we're taking a look at the Year 2 premiere, which is a very big episode. At the time of its release, the longest episode that we had done. So, with regards to episode 95, welcome, Dan. Now that I am finally working on the episode again, I am hoping for next week. I'll make a post once I've made a little bit more progress. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day of editing, and I'll be able to sort of reassess where I'm at. Because as much as I really wanted to buckle down and get caught up on things this week, as soon as my eyes were back to normal, it did take a little while for them to get back to having the infection, fully cleared. So I wasn't able to fully see again comfortably until Monday, and at the beginning of this week we were celebrating MJ's birthday, so I took some time off to do that. I took some time off from editing to just sort of let my eyes recover, because trying to continue to stare at the screen was really painful, and so I decided to let my eyes actually recover, which they have now. And then I had to go and get the replacement monitor. I had to take care of end of quarter grades, which I had not been able to work on at work last week due to my eyes. So a number of different things that I had to take care of with work and life that had fallen behind while I was not well, had to be addressed this week. So unfortunately I haven't been able to do much editing this week. Honestly, last night I was just so exhausted, like, I think I managed to get only maybe a half an hour editing last night before I just fell asleep because I was so wiped out from catching up on getting in all my grades just in time for the end of the quarter, taking care of things, other responsibilities around the house that had fallen by the wayside while I was in pain. So it's been a busy time, but that stuff is now out of the way. Monder is back, if not the original Monder, but I do have a Monder again. So I'm really going to try and buckle down and see what I can get done to try and release it for Thanksgiving weekend. I am hopeful, but I want to see how things go tomorrow now that I'm getting back in the swing of things. If I can get enough good momentum going on tomorrow, I'm going to feel comfortable being able to say, all right, I can commit to this. This is coming out next week. So hopefully that's where we're at. It is, a lot of it has been edited. It's just the really big effects that I really need to work on. But in terms of like the episode clips, I'm more than halfway through editing those together, which is great. A lot of the non-effects scenes have been edited together, so I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to wrap up the non-effects scenes and really start to buckle down with the big effect sequences. So there's a lot there's a lot on my plate for this next week, especially since we do have Thanksgiving coming up. So that is obviously a time of other familial responsibilities, but I'm hopeful and I'm going to really buckle down and do my best that I can. So nose to the grindstone. It's going to be a busy week. I know that already I've committed to Wednesday. I'm going to be doing actually some filming for 96, which was planned before I got into the situation that I was in the other week, because there's some crazy stuff for 96 that needs to be filmed for me to have a hope of getting that one out in a timely manner after 95 comes out. So I hope I'm up to it. I'm gonna try. I'm doing my best. I wanna hit those goals. I want to get 95 out before the end of this month, and I think I can. I'm gonna aim for next weekend. I'm just sorry that I couldn't hit the original planned release simply because of the disasters with my computer failing, followed by my monitor failing, followed by my eyes failing. But now they've all recovered, and we can get back into the regular swing of things. I know that this is my third week in a row without a new thumbnail, but I am going to start making up time on those thumbnails as well, now that I'm back. All right. So, thank you. Have a great night, Lex. Thank you, Jenny, for the happy birthday to MJ. Hope you have a fun time with your brother getting home. And now, before we dive in, let us not forget, as always, our 3 equally non-controversial phrases. So, number 1, say with me, chat, Black Lives Matter. Number 2, say with me, chat, fascism is bad. And number 3, say with me, chat, superheroes are fun. So let us reconnect with our favorite superhero, Database Ranger, as we start off Year 2 with Database Ranger's Power Reviews, Episode 53. The review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Episode 28 and 29, Island of Illusion.
Last year on Power Review.
And I kind of love being able to do that little change up instead of last time on Power Reviews, actually trying to recap the last year. And just using the that list of resolutions just gave me so much good stuff to be able to successfully recap the entirety of Year 1. And I feel like Year 1 still stands as just such a strong run of episodes. because it's structured across the course of 40 episodes, it completely shifts the context of everything surrounding the series while still being a review show.
Greetings, Ranger fans, and welcome to Power
And
Reviews.
I just
And welcome
kind of
to year
wanted to
two.
start off
We've got
year
a lot of
two
big plans in store for
feeling
this year,
the same
not
as the
least
first
with
episode. I
premiere
wanted
of
to make it
much
feel like the
anticipated
beginning,
21st season, Power Rangers
um,
Super Mega Force.
like the
But
beginning of the
first,
series. Just,
I would like to introduce
you know,
you
that
to our brand
reset.
new scientific and technical
It felt like a
consultant.
suitable
Why don't you
way
introduce
to
yourself,
jump into the
Doctor?
second half of the series.
Salutations.
And
My name is Dr. Dayspace, and it will be my
see, I'm
pleasure
not dressed as
to
Dr.
help
K
you
tonight.
review.
I'm dressed as
Well,
Dr. Database.
I look forward to working with you. Please don't make eye contact. All right, then, moving
And I was
on.
just kind of trying to
Doctor and I will be celebrating
recreate
the year
those
with a good
moments.
old-fashioned
And
kickoff party.
one thing that I
It would be a good way to
absolutely
make
love
things better.
about this episode
Actually, I was kind of hoping
is
they'd be here by now, but,
the comments on this video are some of my favorites because people commented on it clearly without having watched the entire episode yet. So people were actually really excited for the prospect of Dr. DB being a recurring character. And I worked so hard to try and recreate MJ's performance here. I had so much fun trying to basically be Dr. K. And this was the other way in which I really wanted to go big. I wanted to do a double length episode for the year 2 premiere. Alright, and I'm going to skip this ad as we jump in to Island of Illusion, Part 1 and 2. And yeah, somebody actually said, "Boo, bring back Dr. K," thinking that this was like an actual reboot for how the show was going to be structured. Like,
Jason, our righteous and responsible Red Ranger.
Brittany,
our tranquil, older than her years Yellow Ranger. Zach, our laid-back dance attack Black Ranger. Kimberly, our
this was just such a fun exploration, and as I mentioned on Twitter, this is very much intended as a deconstruction of Linkara's popular tropes on Atop the Fourth Wall, where he plays all of his characters, or at least most of them. And so Dr. Database is very much similar to Dr. Linceno in Atop the Fourth Wall. Because, of course, Atop the Fourth Wall was a big inspiration for Power Reviews, along with Linkara's History of the Power Rangers series. And I felt like Island of Illusion was a great pair of episodes to cover because, you know, it is a clip show, so that it allows me to really address a lot of Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And it was honestly just a really enjoyable episode at the time, too, because this was the first Power Rangers 2-parter. We had the 5-parter of Grain with Evil before that, but having that 2-parter was something that was still new.
Thank you. I knew that. I totally knew that. Anywho, up on the moon.
And I'm not gonna lie, part of this outside of everything else was I have fun playing multiple characters, and I wanted to have fun with this one. Obviously, this first half is lighter than the rest of it, but you'll also notice in the background, I'm not subtle about it really, but in the background on the screen behind Dr. Database's head, we see that word darkness just starting very, very small at the beginning, and then just slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger each time that you check back in with Dr. Database. And that's just a little sign of sort of little bits of the subconscious kind of creeping into the reality here. And I actually did have to create, when I was creating that darkness image, I actually created, I think, like 18 different images that said darkness, just all at different fonts, and just had to change it out each time I went through. Nice reference there to Contest of Champions, Scott. I do have similar sympathies for Linkara trying to complete the Contest of Champions, just as I've been trying to complete Year 3 for what seems like a comparable amount of time. I mean, Year 3 is going to be 5 years long when it's done, which is insane to me.
Attack on Titan's got nothing on this guy. And so the Ranger series operator summoned that inaccurately titled dinosaur attack.
This is also, just very much a throwback to the simpler episodes of the series. At least it starts off that way, obviously.
Perhaps even the Jurassic Pterodactylus, but I draw the line at the Pleistocene Mastodon and Saber-toothed Tiger. I mean, they're clearly mammalian and...
I also enjoy using scientific jargon. And I'm so glad I actually managed to nail that paleontology is something of a sore subject line, because it is tricky to get Olivia Tennant's pseudo-New Zealand accent as Dr. K, because she's obviously trying to mask her New Zealand accent, but little bits of the vowels peek through, which makes it extra difficult to recreate. And sore subject, I just tried to get that little New Zealand vowel in there. And yeah, this is actually the only episode of Power Reviews that actually covers 2 episodes. No other episode of Power Reviews has covered 2 episodes in one video before, or since then. I've covered other 2-parters. Origins Part 1 and 2, Silver Lining Part 1 and 2. Arguably Legendary Battle and The Wrath could be considered 2-parter. But in every case, I had those split into 2 videos. And Island of Illusion is one of the few that I could actually get away with it on. Because Island of Illusion is largely a clip show for its second part, so that keeps it tighter. I was able to move through it a little quicker, because this is one of those types of reviews where a lot of the humor is in the premise, and a lot of the story is in the premise, rather than specific story developments in between the review. So if this was something that I tried to review in one of the current episodes, where we have all this story happening going on during the in-between segments, there's no way that I'd be able to fit in 2 episodes with that much story. Yeah, Scott, The Wrath was its own review. The Wrath was episode 79 of Power Reviews, with Legendary Battle being episode 80. I did do the extended versions of both those episodes, but I did split it into 2 episodes. And I debated that for a little bit. But then I realized that if I did the extended versions, there's no way I could do 2 extended version episodes in one video. And just now we had one of my biggest flubs that I've ever actually had, where I accidentally misspelled Tyrion Lannister as Tyrion Lancaster in the script. That was my bad. I was not that familiar with Game of Thrones at the time. I should have double-checked the spelling. It's one of the very few straight-up writing errors that I've made on this show that I am directly cognizant of. And I got called out on it, almost immediately.
Succumbing to panic, Ranger Black is suddenly faced with a specimen
and it's weird to think how, even at this point in the halfway point of the series, we were still covering episodes in that traditional review format.
Sorry, we quickly learned the true nature behind the island. And so, his
Quagmire is amazing. I don't understand anything about Quagmire other than just that he's amazing.
And that's the end of our episode.
Oh, what episode script was Tyrion on? Oh, I was in this one where I compared Quagmire to Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. And here we go. The second half of the episode begins right here.
You must be from next door. I don't think I caught your name. Database Ranger.
And yes, I did have to borrow Guy's costume for this.
Database Ranger, welcome to the party.
And Database sees nothing wrong with this.
Hey,
and here we're starting to get more composite shots of me as they just kind of pile up.
Do you guys have Wi-Fi here?
And I'm where,
Cool.
and I was not going to fit into one of MJ's graphic tees, but
I never actually got your name. Oh, sorry about that. It's hi.
and
I'm Database Ranger.
and then this bit.
We're the Database Rangers.
I am so glad I could get that timing right. Like that timing was so challenging because I needed to pace it out just so. And I was trying to recreate everyone's performances as best as I can.
Database Ranger. The Database Ranger is Database Ranger. Database Ranger. My scientific and technical consultant, Dr. Database Ranger, and I'm Database Ranger. Hi. So, help yourselves. We have water, ice water.
This was also one of the widest shots that I've ever done in the series.
Maybe we'll indulge. Yes, it is one.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I hope you all don't mind, but the good doctor and
Me as the more Potsners still stands to this day as, I believe, the creepiest thing that I have ever done on this show.
Popular show of all time. Great. So I take it that everyone here is familiar with the Island of Illusion two-parter? Well, I'm a professional reviewer of Power Rangers, and I thought it might be fun for the six of us to review it together. Oh, cool. Excellent. That sounds fun. Perfect. So without any further
I'm somehow matching cadence with myself. And I don't know how many takes that took.
Can I help you with anything?
And
are you here for the party?
Here.
Oh, no. I just wanted to check in and see how you were doing. Me? Yes, I guess you could say that I'm the landlord here. And I just want to make sure that all of my tenants are satisfied.
The landlord.
That's nice.
Now,
how are you doing?
one kind of
great.
funny thing
Everything's,
is,
everything's perfect.
the
Yeah.
the
That's great. Guess I'll leave you to your party.
the landlord here
Enjoy it.
was never actually in the script
Thank you.
as landlord. I never actually intended for the landlord to be his nickname at the time. That was just
Stay safe.
according to this scenario.
Yes, I'll wait. Oh, right. So,
And,
guys, if no one has any objections, since the good doctor and I have already
And then the fan base kind of just latched on to calling him the landlord, and so that became his name. Goodness. Yes, I did very much deliberately synchronize that whole thing to everybody's camera hand movements going at the same point.
Ooh, we like it. Except what he said totally isn't true, because Billy just stated. And he himself
So,
just said.
one kind of funny thing with the more Potsner Database Rangers is when I went to film that one,
Finally deciding to
I-
pay attention to all the exposition, the Rangers tried to summon up.
I sat down on the couch, filmed all my Mitch Moore Potsner bits, and then I changed my clothes, sat down on the couch, to do all my Marymore Pottsner bits, and after I sat down at the couch as Marymore Pottsner, the upstairs neighbor started vacuuming, and I needed a consistent sound. And I didn't want to touch the camera because I knew that if I touched the camera, it would change the angle and it would mess up my compositing later. So I was just stuck sitting there, dressed as Marymore Pottsner, with the earrings and the pearl necklace, just like with my proper posture and everything, just waiting and waiting and waiting for the upstairs neighbor to stop vacuuming. And so that single, series of shots took like over half an hour, even though they only have a handful of lines that are actually synchronized. So yeah, trying to film as more Pottsners was difficult. But yeah, I was trying to, again, play around with that whole Linkara concept of the character of the main actor plays all the characters, but nobody actually addresses it. Except I'm actually drawing more active attention to it, because not only are they all played by me, they all have the name Database Ranger, and that's still not being commented on. And that's...
We don't understand. What's so scary? Well...
They're so creepy. Those more Pottsner me's are so creepy.
Next thing they'll be saving the Rangers' lives.
And I even had to recreate MJ's Mayo's microdermal piercing. I got like a little stick-on jewel on my face, so that I'm fully recreating Mayo as best I can. And I borrowed MJ's necklace, like.
Fortunately, the Terror Toad clip from Power Rangers Punks is enough to bring
I'm very amused every time that I manage to successfully synchronize 5 of me at once. That was a very busy weekend of filming. That was a ridiculous weekend of filming. Like,
that little tree putty is absolutely right. So Tommy remembers how easily he's defeated putties in the past during like.
And every now and again, I still have seams in my compositing work.
Stopped himself before kicking out his friends in the face. I've heard that too. Next up is Trini, who starts.
And of course, if I'm going to be playing Guy, I'd need to be doing the kick in the face gag. But, yeah, once again, with the comments, it's really funny seeing people who commented while watching the beginning of the episode being like, oh, I like this new Dr. Database character, he should be interesting, and then it goes into, wait, what is happening? Why is this happening? What's going on? Oh my goodness, what?
And sure enough, she remembers the other half of the clip from High Five and comes back, just in time for Billy to start fading away from his realization that all his scientific prowess is no match for Rita's magic. I sense a fight in a land of dreams. It's really fun. I'm nightmare queen.
And again, I love being able to reference all of these other early episodes of Mighty Morphin. And it feels like an appropriate thing for kicking off the year 2. Really embracing, where everything started. Where the show started, how the show has evolved, and where Power Rangers started, and how Power Rangers had evolved across the course of its first season.
Aren't they the ones who are supposed to speak in unison?
And the illusion just is slowly breaking down as Database is slowly picking up on all these little issues. They're not quite operating the way they're supposed to be operating.
And with that, Rita's final spell,
you know, the illusion that he's trapped in is falling apart.
And
And one thing that, you know, wasn't really made obvious back at the time.
Wait, I thought you two were the non-sarcastic one.
And again, Database is just getting more and more creeped out as all of their personality traits are just slowly melding together and shifting between each other. And it's a quick, easy thing to pull off because, you know, they're all being played by me. So I'm just starting to play up traits that I had previously performed as a different character, and now I'm doing it as this character. And those facial expressions of having, like, Guy's raised eyebrow, but also the more Potsner grin at the same time, just feels very sinister.
First time for everything. Yeah. So, with the day saved, it's time to check in with the dance competition.
And it just keeps getting more and more unsettling as we go through.
-2. I didn't even know they had negative scorecards. And, of course, Zach completely rocks the competition. Thanks to his hard-earned less than self-confidence, the help of an oddly familiar little DJ, and, of course, the lack of any other qualified competitors. And at the end of our episode tomorrow, it's
and that very weird bit of Database being slightly out of sync with everybody else. There was so much. There was just so much fun trying to piece together these big composite shots. It still gives me like little shivers watching some of these bits because it is very unsettling. And things just keep getting darker. And this was actually another little bit that I was a little off on. It wasn't the first full Six Ranger morph because technically there was this full Six Ranger morph at the end of Green with Evil Part 5 when Tommy joined the team. It was just the first Six Ranger morph into battle. So that was another little error in this script. This was a bit of a challenge because it was my first time trying to write a script this long for Power Reviews.
The first was Quagmire. You really want to know the story.
And this was, you know, as I was sort of in a little transition zone, not just in terms of the show, but also in life as well. Let's see, when did I release The Island Illusion? I'm trying to remember now when this originally premiered.
What? Number 2. Well,
enigmatic characters with ill-defined origins. Why would I have any relationship with that? I don't know.
And Trini's starting off without any but all of the others provided a surprising
so let me see here. When did I premiere this one?
Billy overcoming his lack of self-confidence in anything non-science related.
So this was originally uploaded.
So doubting the one thing he felt sure about
this was in March of 2014. So this was right when I had just in between the year 1 finale and the year 2 premiere. It was about 2 months. I had a 2-month break. And during that 2-month break, I changed jobs and got engaged. So there was a lot going on then. And I intended to jump into this a little sooner than I did, but I decided that going and doing our engagement trip was a little bit more important. I also played around, as you can see here, with this with this cabinet. And he remembers them. He remembers his friends.
I don't understand.
And, we had that little Power Rangers decoration behind him that's now become blank.
What is this?
As everything just sort of washes together.
Enjoyable adventure. What's going on? Due to its attention to character. Stop it! Stop what?
And even Dr. Database is starting to blend with them now.
You're not who you're supposed to be. Who are you? Database. Don't you recognize us? We're Database. No, you can't be. You're not.
And
You're not me.
he still has the glowing eyes. And you can barely see it, but here, yep, and we get the little close-up. On every seat is a small bit of hair. And this is another sort of little callback to things.
You. Well, maybe next
And we
year.
just snap right back
Until then,
to the end of the holiday special. That exact same unsettling little bit at the end. And there we go. There is the year 2 premiere. And it feels so appropriate in terms of a way to transition into the second half of the series. Because the entire first half of the series was about, really learning about who our hero is. And what better way to start off the second half than by finally actually meeting our villain? We don't get to see him really properly face to face in this episode. We get to do that in the next episode, which is also very exciting. But also, as we later discover, and almost another 40 episodes later, we're also getting to the root of how Database became who he is. Like, if you recall in episode 92 and episode 94, we got a little bit of that backstory of how Database had been in the apartment before anything, before he became Database Ranger. And now he's back in the recreation of that same original apartment, back in the world of the hiatus. And the landlord is trying to put things back the way they were. Put him back in that little box. See if he can get him comfortable with his prison this time. And it's not quite working because of the friendships that he's made across the course of the series at this point. And that's one of the reasons that the whole first half Power Reviews is so very heavily driven by his relationships with the other cast members. They create this anchor for him that allows him to break free of these illusions. Which is, of course, the other reason that Island of Illusion felt so appropriate as an episode to cover, because as we find out at the end of the Winter Trilogy, he's functionally in an island in the middle of this sea of the void, surrounded by these illusions. And now that we know a little bit more about who the landlord really is, we can think about, that and this was actually one of the earliest clues. The whole use of the little locks of hair was meant to hint that he was actually facing a Power Rangers villain this whole time. With my personal headcanon being that the Wizard of Deception was someone who had worked alongside Dark Spectre in the past. Hence using locks of hair to create these clones of Database Ranger. Weak clones, easily dispelled clones, very rushed clones, but clones nonetheless. And it was just such a fun little illusion for the landlord to use to try and get a hold of Database again. And every time they interact, the landlord's always playing at something, trying to manipulate him in some way. And it's great seeing Database getting stronger and stronger and more able to break through these deceptions and not be quite so easily gaslit as he had been before. So there we go. There was the year 2 premiere. Really digging into, again, how unsettling it could really be for all the different characters to all have the same face, giving them all the same name, and then seeing them slowly meld into each other with their personalities, and slowly be revealed to all be an illusion designed to sort of break the psyche of the main character, which I thought was I thought would be a fun homage to Atop the Fourth Wall, and a very fun sort of dark take on that idea. So I hope that Linkara gets to see this at some point, and I hope that he enjoys it. We've chatted online occasionally, but I don't know if he's had a chance to actually check out the channel at any point. But thank you again for joining me this week. I do have the I do have the videos again for Dino Fury coming out bright and early tomorrow, so it's going to be a long night for me putting that together. I'm also really looking forward to finally checking out, this is completely separate from Power Rangers, but 2 shows just premiered today. One is the Netflix adaptation, the Netflix live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, which looks a lot of fun. But number 2 is the one that I've been so hyped for and can't wait to check out, and I really want to watch after we wrap up here, while I'm working on other things. The Wheel of Time live-action series, I am incredibly hyped for, and I can't wait to check out. I am a huge fan of The Wheel of Time. It's my favorite book series from when I was a teenager. I started reading it back when I was 13, and I finally finished it just like 2 years ago, because it took like 20 years for me to get through the whole thing, and it also took a very long time for them to finish releasing all the books, because it's a 14-book massive series, but I cannot wait to check out that show. I have not been this hyped for a new show in a very long time. I am super hyped for seeing how they bring the Wheel of Time to life, because it's just so expansive and so exciting. So small little tangent there in terms of things that I'm looking forward to, but I am going to be doubling back down on 95. It is coming as soon as I can get it together. And yeah, so not full tangent on Wheel of Time, because as Scott just pointed out, Zoe Robbins, who played Haley in Power Rangers Ninja Steel, is one of the main characters in the Wheel of Time. She plays Nynaeve Almira, who is part of the core cast. Like, there are 7 main characters during the first run of the books, and she is one of those 7 main characters. She is like the 3rd most important female character in a series with literally thousands of characters. It's a huge role, and I've seen little clips of her playing Nynaeve, and I'm loving how just like super tough they're going to make Nynaeve, and because she is she is a very strong character. She's extremely strong-willed. She's extremely powerful, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they manage that. And they have got whole hog on Nynaeve's braids, which is a big part of her character, which is very silly and kind of a running bit. But they got. I saw a clip of her as Nynaeve that looks amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how well she manages that role. But it's looking good. It's looking really good. Definitely a different target audience than Power Rangers. It just does skew a little older. But I'm so excited. It's going to be so cool. They're going to be fighting all the Trollocs, and there's going to be all sorts of magic. And to a certain extent, the Wheel of Time is sort of, I guess, an appetizer for the Lord of the Rings series. But I am so much more excited for the Wheel of Time series. Like, you have no idea. I've been wanting this for like 20 years. I'm so excited to see it actually being a series. I kind of love these characters, and I'm really excited to see them on the not big screen, small screen, but you know what I mean. And they've already been renewed for a third season. Like, I really hope they get to actually make it through the entire series. I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. So I know that's a bit of a tangent there. I'm excited. And I'm excited to be getting closer and closer to the end of the series. It has been, I know, tough keeping momentum going with the channel, with how much longer each of these episodes takes, and how busy my life has gotten in between. But we're getting there. 95 is coming. 95 is coming together, and 95 is one of the most challenging episodes left before we get to the finale. 96 and 97 are both going to have their own challenges. It's just not going to be me having to put together an entirely new effect that I haven't experimented with quite such an extensive variety of shots involved. Involving shooting people from a bunch of different angles and a bunch of combinations. 95 has been a huge challenge. And I'm looking forward to you finally getting to see it, and I hope you all enjoy it. It's an exciting episode. I'll put it that way. So, before I get to rambling too much, we gotta save some for next week, when we formally meet the landlord and get to dive into that. But thank you so much again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you online tomorrow for the premiere of the next videos for Power Rangers Dino Fury. And before we go, let's not forget our last 3 equally non-controversial phrases. So, number 1, say it with me, chat. Love is love. Number 2, say it with me, chat. Trans rights are human rights. And number 3, say it with me, chat. Robots are cool. And let's keep messing with this one a little bit more next week. And until then, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.